Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It appears that Puerto Rico's own unbeaten up-and-comer in the women's welterweight division, Stephanie Piñeiro, is set to return to action. She took to her social media and posted a caption that reads, "My next fight will be December 7th, and as you can see here, I am with Chris Ducille. I've been past the real codes, if you know what I mean, right? I'm getting real money for that fight. So anyone interested in promoting their business with me, shoot me in the direct messages to get the proposal over." Stephanie was in action earlier this year, making her Matchroom debut on the undercard of Matias versus Paro, sporting a professional record of 7 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 knockouts.
Her last fight was the very first time she fought for 10 rounds as a professional, and she needs 1 or 2 more fights like that, I think she does, before she challenges any one of the champions at welterweight for a title.
Think about the feverish pace that we just saw in the Mayer versus Ryan fight. Lots of action in every single round from start to finish. That's what Stephanie has to prepare herself for, fights like that. I noticed that even though she was winning by a wide margin in her last fight, she was having it all her way. She kind of faded down a stretch, gassed out.
Chalk it up to a lack of experience. That was the first time she was fighting in a 10-rounder.
Before that, the most she had ever fought for was for 6 rounds. That was the first time she was fighting for 10, so it's no accident that she got kind of tired towards the end. Power was definitely there. You could see she was hurting Diana Castro, but she just didn't have the energy to finish her, to let off one big salvo to get Diana out of there.
I noticed after the fight and after the judges' scorecards were read, Stephanie was given secondary titles, a secondary WBO title and a secondary WBA title. By way of the WBA, Stephanie is currently ranked at number 1.
Leads me to believe that her next opponent could be someone from the WBA's ranked standings. Maybe Canada's own Marie-Pierre Huel. That makes for a fun fight, an action fight.
Good fight.
Marie is a characteristically aggressive mid-range to inside volume puncher that gives you an idea of what that fight might look like. Ranked at number 3 behind Marie is Canada's own Candy Wyatt.
It's another good fight.
I really like Stephanie's chances against Candy Wyatt. I'll go as far as saying that she might knock Candy out. Moving down the ranks, you have some outliers in Bexy Matias of Colombia, Kinga Magyar of Hungary, the United Kingdom's own April Hunter. She's fought under the Matchroom banner once or twice. She's not with Matchroom anymore. You wonder that they didn't reach out to her to maybe put her in the ring with Stephanie Piñeiro.
Wasn't she supposed to fight Mary Spencer a couple of weeks ago?
She was, but she pulled out injured. Just some insights into who Stephanie might end up fighting via the WBA. Via the WBO,
she isn't ranked as highly with the WBO. In the WBA's ranks, she's ranked at number 1. In the WBO's, she's ranked at number 5.
Ranked right behind her is Kinga Magyar of Hungary, who I just mentioned. Dee Allen of Great Britain, very strong puncher. That makes for a dangerous fight.
I've talked about Dee.
Ranked behind Dee Allen is a familiar face in Marisela Cornejo, who's been around for years, campaigning anywhere from welterweight to as high as middle, even super middle, I think.
That'd be a good learning fight for Stephanie Piñeiro. I definitely favor Stephanie to win. Might go the distance, but she needs the rounds.
I've said it many times before. Stephanie has some of the right ingredients to perhaps become a draw unto herself. Having the skills that she has in the physical dimensions, she could do very well for herself anywhere in between 147 and 160, in tandem with being a fighter of Puerto Rican descent from the island of Puerto Rico. That really helps.
She has that potential in a way that not every Puerto Rican fighter has that potential.
Not just any, but she does. All she's really missing are the rounds in the bank, the fights, the experiences. That's what she needs more of, and it looks like Matchroom is going to get her that. In December, on the undercard of Paro versus Hitchins. This is all in relation to an event headlined by newly crowned IBF champion Liam Paro and unbeaten up-and-comer mandatory challenger Hitchins of the United States, set to go down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, you may be asking yourself, wait a minute, didn't they say that they were going to get Liam Paro a homecoming fight now that he's IBF champion? And it would seem fitting that if Liam is going to defend his title for the first time, it should be in his neck of the woods, not somebody else's, and not in Puerto Rico of all places. Why there?
I think it's because they had a lot of success with the Matias versus Paro fight, what was Subriel Matias's homecoming fight.
They sold a lot of tickets, the event did well, and now they want to build upon that success. I wouldn't be surprised if Subriel Matias is fighting on this show, being honest. I wouldn't be surprised if he's headlining.
What?
I saw Hitchins take to his social media and state quite plainly, world champion, hinting at a world title fight, presumably the Liam Paro fight.
In Puerto Rico, though?
So here's what's wrong with this picture. You know, upon signing Regis Prograis, they got him a homecoming fight. Upon signing Subriel Matias, they got him a homecoming fight, and Jaron Ennis.
They got him a homecoming fight. They're getting him too, because the Karen Chukatsian fight is happening in Philly.
So what happened to Liam Paro's homecoming fight? I remember immediately after he won, Eddie Hearn said his next fight was going to be in his neck of the woods at the end of the year, and now we're seeing this. This guy beat Montana Love on the road, Subriel Matias on the road. Why can't he get a homecoming fight?
It seems wrong.
And now he's fighting Hitchins, statuesque guy for the weight, tall, long guy for the weight, jabber, pure boxer.
Not an easy style to have to deal with. A pesky, frustrating style to have to deal with. And to do that in somebody else's neck of the woods instead of yours, it seems wrong.
So then what was the point in signing all of those Aussies if you weren't going to do no shows in Australia? You signed Sky Nicholson, Ebony Bridges, Dempsey McKean, Justice Hooney, Jai Opetaia,
Jock Barvis.
Liam Paro. You signed Liam Paro. He beats the Puerto Rican champion in Puerto Rico, and the best that you can do is send him back to Puerto Rico.
What the hell's your problem, Eddie?
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
What?
I would say it's a logistics issue, but to my knowledge, neither Justice Hooney or Dempsey McKean are otherwise preoccupied right now. You could have got those two guys some fights in Australia, just some keep busy fights, just something to get them out there.
Liam Paro in the main event, and a couple of international fighters, maybe one or two Brits, maybe an American.
I'm sorry, but I do kind of feel like Matchroom is dropping the ball here. Is this a logistics issue to where a fight in Puerto Rico makes you more money than a fight in Australia on the premise that in Puerto Rico they do use the American dollar? Is that what it is?
And you know that you can do good business there because you've done business there before.
Even if that's what it is, it still seems wrong. It still seems like Liam is getting the short end of the stick. He knocked out Jock Barvis, he knocked out Montana Love, and he beat Subriel Matias at home. So why can't he get a homecoming fight like everybody else? It just seems wrong.
He's fighting a very frustrating guy with a frustrating style. Being honest with you, Hitchins.
I noticed that he didn't keep the energy for Subriel when he was champion. He didn't keep the energy for him that he has for Liam Paro. I remember him telling a member of the boxing media that he wasn't too keen on fighting Subriel or fighting for the IBF title because of the 10-pound rehydration cap, that second day weigh-in, that he didn't want to be depleted.
That he wouldn't want to go into a fight like that less than 100%. In spite of that, he still fought Gustavo Lemos in an IBF eliminator, in spite of what he said. And in spite of what he said, he's about to fight for the IBF title just against somebody else. Somebody I gather he thinks he can beat.
The way it looks outwardly, it looks like Hitchins didn't really like his chances against Subriel, and he didn't want that fight, but he wants this one because he figures he can beat Liam.
What, he didn't want to fight Subriel, but he wants to fight the guy that beat Subriel?
Styles make fights, and Hitchins probably feels he's got a better chance against Liam's style than Subriel's. We see how much he struggled with Gustavo. A lot of people think Gustavo should have won. Gustavo should have been given the decision. Against the bigger, stronger pressure guy in Subriel, I don't think that would have ended well for Hitchins. He likes his chances against Liam.
It's worked out pretty well for him.
Remember that Hitchins is an import. They brought him over from Mayweather Promotions, and they weren't doing very much with him over there. I remember Richardson said that he used to have to beg for fight dates. They had him on the shelf doing a lot of nothing.
Right.
Leaves Mayweather Promotions, goes to Matchroom, gets fights, gets more active, is making more money than he was making at Mayweather Promotions, and now he's got a title shot.
So you might criticize them for the job that they're doing with Liam, but they seem to be doing right by Hitchins.
Call it a case of everybody can't get what they want when they want it.
We'll talk more about the fight once it's officially announced.
Men's middleweight news ahead of tomorrow morning's middleweight title fight between Janibek Alimkhanalai and his challenger, mandatory challenger, Andre Mikhailovich. The boys are all weighed in. Janibek appears to have made the weight just fine. He said, "Who said I can't make weight? Who said I have to go to 168? Who said I can't do anything? Guys, tomorrow I'm fighting at 160 pounds and I have 2 championship titles."
Alhamdulillah.
Well, anyone who was of the opinion that Janibek can't make the weight didn't arrive there on their own. It's because he was dehydrated. This fight was supposed to have happened weeks ago, and it didn't because Janibek collapsed due to dehydration. So if anybody was under the impression he couldn't make the weight or he would struggle, that's why.
They didn't get there on their own. They didn't make it up.
So we have yet to see how Janibek performs. Some things you don't know. You don't find out until the fight starts. Some things. How well did he make the weight? We'll be able to tell based on how he performs. And so long as he made it all right, I have Janibek winning the fight. The biggest thing that was working for Andre is Janibek having a hard cut. That if he's depleted and he's drained and he's gaunt, he's weakened. Maybe weak enough that Andre could get him?
Maybe.
But that's the most that Andre had working for him. It's my understanding that Andre hasn't fought outside that region very much, so he's not world-tested, battle-tested on the world stage.
So this is a big step up for him.
Going in, it seemed, and in some ways still seems, like the deck was stacked against Janibek because if nothing else, he is fighting Andre closer to Andre's neck of the woods than his own.
Right?
All the confusion about just how many alphabet titles would be on the line. Would it be 2 or just the 1?
Right? It's a no-limit promotion show, not a top-ranked show. Janibek has to travel. He needs a knockout.
And so long as he isn't weight drained, so long as he didn't have a hard cut like the last time, he should be able to get it. He should be able to win. Is the division better off for it? No, not necessarily, but
If somebody wants what he's got, they've got to take it from him. Andre has to take it from him.
saw Andre at the weigh-in, saw Janibek. Bit of nervous energy from Andre Mikhailovich.
Which is understandable. This is a big step up in class for him. World title opportunity. He looked a little bit nervous, taken by the situation. Janibek, stoic, stone cold.
Staring down his quarry that was likely banking on a weakened fighter getting off that plane.
A drained fighter, and that he only got there 2 days ahead of the fight. No time to shake off the jet lag. Janibek is either very confident or very stupid.
We'll find out tomorrow morning. It's intriguing. It's not the biggest fight in the sport right now, but it is an intriguing one. Breakfast and boxing. I like it.
Bitch.
Finally, in men's cruiserweight news, big aspirations, big dreams for the 2-time IBF champion Jai Opetaia, who wishes to become a 3-division champion, and he wants to cap it all off with a fight against Alexander Usyk. Can he do it?
I don't know, but he can try.
Jai Opetaia is the IBF Cruiserweight World Champion and widely regarded as the best fighter in the division. On October 12th, live on Sky Sports box office, he puts his title on the line against European champion Jack Macy, who earned his shot with a sterling victory over Isaac Chamberlain. Opetaia's ambitions also extend further. He wants to win all 4 major titles at Cruiserweight before progressing onwards. "We want to be undisputed Cruiserweight champion," Opetaia told Sky Sports. "We want to collect all the belts, and then we want to move up and collect more belts, either the Bridgerweight or the Heavyweight. A 3-division world champion sounds good. A possibility that was not possible before because before there was no Bridgerweight division."
That only came into fruition in recent years by way of the WBC. Now, both the WBC and the WBA have titles there.
Jai Opetaia insisted, "I am the best cruiserweight in the world."
I think many people would agree.
But added, "It's easy to say that stuff. I've just got to keep proving it. I've got to prove it again on the 12th and prove it my next fight and keep collecting these belts." The Australian has been in the ring, albeit in sparring, with top heavyweights. Then WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury used him ahead of his fight with Alexander Usyk. "You're rubbing shoulders with the greatest," Opetaia said. "Being there, you learn a lot, and it's just all positive. We just keep leveling up everywhere we go. I've mixed it up with a lot of big boys. I know I can mix it up there with them." Ukraine's Usyk who has gone undisputed at both cruiserweight and heavyweight, remains the unified WBO, WBA, and WBC champion, is Opetaia's ultimate target. I would love to fight Usyk one day. It's a fight that'll definitely be chasing. I've been around Usyk for a long time. We were both at the same Olympic Games in 2012. I was only young, he said. I've always been close. I've always been in the shadows. I feel like my opportunity is getting closer and closer to being in there against him. The goals never changed. We've been doing the same thing ever since I was a little kid. Train, eat, sleep, and repeat. It's easy to say stuff. I'm trying to live it. I'm trying to train hard every day and just fight and prepare and do what I've got to do to prove it. Realistically, given the age that Usyk is now versus Jai Opetaia, where they are respectively in terms of weight, because Jai is insistent that he wants to unify cruiserweight first. He wants to become undisputed there before moving on. That's why an Usyk fight isn't realistic. How long is it going to take Jai to do that?
He's got to beat Jack Macy. Then after that, he's got to satisfy his mandatory challenger. The most that they can hope to do is get that mandatory to step aside.
And maybe they can. Maybe they will. But at minimum, you get the sense that most, if not all of next year, will be spent trying to unify this division.
Do you think Usyk has another year?
Another 2, maybe 3? Because what Jai's talking about is unifying the cruiserweight division, becoming undisputed there, then winning a title or titles at bridgerweight, then capping it all off with an Usyk fight. So what are you talking about, 2 to 3 years from now? I'm not sure that Usyk has another 2 to 3 years to give to boxing. If they were to speed up the process, move it along to where Jai fights him in the next 1 or 2 fights, realistically, I would go with Usyk to win. If we're talking about a 1 to 2 fight window where these guys see each other within the next 12 months, I would go with Usyk on the premise of experience and cardio. Cardio being his best weapon, or at least one of his best weapons, against Jai. Jai is plenty fast. And he's plenty strong. He's young.
Fresh.
But he doesn't have the best engine, and we've seen that on 2 separate occasions where he gassed out fighting the same guy, fighting Mairis Briedis. The last time, Briedis hadn't even fought in over a year.
But he was able to come on late into the fight because Jai slowed down.
Whereas Usyk grows stronger and more dominant as a fight progresses. He picks up the pace where the pace slows for Jai. So if it were anywhere in between 1 to 2 fights from now, I'd go with Usyk, but
That's purely speculation. Hypothetical.
realistically, that fight ain't gonna happen next or after next. What's next for Usyk is Fury. After that, it might be Dubois.
Meanwhile, Jai's trying to unify cruiserweight.
So the way it looks, we may never see this fight. That's the reality of it.